Oh, my apologies. I mistook that for rummaging through trash, Emma remarked with a victorious grin, oblivious to the fatal error she was about to make. I go by Sally, 32 years young, employed as a seamstress within a bustling TV and film studio. My days are filled with the delicate task of mending costumes, a diverse array ranging from opulent period ensembles to the mundane attire of modern-day dramas. It's my duty to ensure they fit the bill of their era and the actors who don them, tending to any wear and tear accrued during filming. In my daily routine, I navigate through piles of fabric, maneuvering sewing machines and wielding irons with practiced precision. While my primary responsibility lies in the art of garment repair, my true expertise lies in the craft of sewing. From intricate fixes to crafting creations from scratch, my hands are adept at bringing fabric to life. It's a skill passed down from my mother, a gift I've nurtured since childhood. This profession feels like more than just a job to me, it's a calling. Despite the erratic hours and occasional unreasonable requests, my passion for this work remains unwavering. I harbor hopes of spending a lifetime within these walls, weaving threads of creativity and craftsmanship indefinitely. At this studio, fate intertwined my path with Joe's. He held the responsibility of tending to the needs of the actors, while I diligently worked on costumes. With a mere 3-year age gap between us, our daily interactions cultivated a bond that naturally deepened over time. After 2 years of shared laughter and challenges amidst our bustling schedules, we took the plunge into matrimony. However, as we embarked on this new chapter together, life threw a curveball. My world was shaken when my mother fell gravely ill and departed unexpectedly, casting a shadow over our joyous occasion and prompting Joe and me to postpone our wedding plans. Originally, our wedding plans were modest, envisioning a simple ceremony in a local church surrounded by close family. However, the unforeseen delay in our nuptials prompted us to reassess our priorities, setting our sights on saving up for a more elaborate celebration and a dream honeymoon. Given the erratic nature of our work schedules, the idea of renting a separate residence solely for sleeping seemed extravagant to us. Thus, in pursuit of our wedding fund, Joe and I made the decision to reside with his mother, Emma, in their family home. Both of us had experienced the loss of a parent early in life, forging a common bond in our shared grief. With my father's absence and Joe's similar experience, concerns for Emma's well-being weighed heavily on our minds. We embarked on this living arrangement with the best intentions, hoping to foster a harmonious relationship with Emma. Little did we know, it would mark the beginning of an unforeseen ordeal. Emma harbored no desire to foster a harmonious relationship with me. To her, I was nothing more than an interloper who had stolen her son's affections. The moment we settled into our new living arrangement, her relentless harassment commenced. Every corner of the house became an opportunity for criticism, each word laced with disdain. If I cleaned Sally, she would begin, launching into a tirade about the state of the house and questioning my upbringing with thinly veiled insults. I endured the onslaught, striving to meet her exacting standards, even if it meant my hands cracked and bled from the relentless scrubbing. The demands for cleanliness were unfathomable, with no task too trivial to escape her scrutiny. Whether it was cleaning, laundry, or cooking, any imperfection, no matter how minor, warranted a redo, met with a nonchalant demeanor. As exhaustion set in, her harassment only intensified, each critique chipping away at my resolve. Even when I thought I had completed a task flawlessly, she would unearth some perceived flaw, leaving me to scrub the sink into the early hours of the morning. It became evident that she found fault in everything about me, her disapproval casting a shadow over every aspect of our shared existence. Under Emma's decree, I found myself burdened with the entirety of the household chores. Struggling to juggle my professional obligations alongside the mounting demands of domesticity, I made the difficult decision to transition to remote work. Yet far from alleviating the situation, this only served to intensify Emma's expectations. Each day mirrored a scene from Cinderella's tale, as I toiled ceaselessly over endless tasks. Has the laundry been tended to? The upstairs curtain is in disrepair. See to it. You're quite handy with a needle, aren't you, Sally? Emma's demands echoed incessantly, leaving me little respite even in the midst of urgent work commitments. Apologies, but I have pressing deadlines. Can the curtain not wait until the weekend? I pleaded, hoping for some reprieve. What nonsense. Leaving it as it is could invite gossip from the neighbors. It must be fixed immediately, she retorted sharply, dismissing any notion of delay. Thus my days blurred into a relentless cycle of multitasking. wherein I found myself simultaneously engrossed in work and ensnared by domestic duties. Often, the distinction between the two became increasingly blurred as I toiled well into the night, the chores ceaseless and unforgiving. It became apparent that Emma derived a perverse satisfaction from witnessing my gradual descent into exhaustion. Emma wielded her cruelty like a masterful sadist, inflicting torment upon me with relentless harassment, particularly when Joe was absent during the day. Our dynamic mirrored that of an oppressive owner and a submissive maid, with me bearing the brunt of all household responsibilities. Despite my inner turmoil, pride prevented me from easily confiding in Joe about the extent of my suffering. I persevered, striving to fulfill my designated role, yet the toll on my psyche far outweighed the physical strain of the chores. Occasionally, Emma would extend invitations to neighbors for lunch, transforming these gatherings into excruciating ordeals. Her criticism reached new heights in the presence of others, their conversations dripping with disdain as they disparaged me. "She's utterly hopeless as a daughter-in-law. I have to lecture her incessantly. My son may be blind to it, but I'm not fooled. She's simply insufferable and devoid of common sense." Emma's words cut deep, amplified by the chorus of laughter from her guests, who seemed all too eager to join in the ridicule. As I labored through the tasks, their harsh judgments lingered like a heavy weight upon my heart, chipping away at my resilience. Each day felt like a battle against my own sanity, the relentless onslaught of criticism pushing me to the brink. If this continued unabated, I feared I might lose myself entirely to the suffocating grip of despair. But the challenges didn't end with Emma's relentless torment. There was also Joe's older sister, Sarah, aged 38. Sarah resided in a nearby town with her boyfriend, and if I were to sum her up in a single word, it would be stingy. Almost daily, she'd make her way to our house for lunch, likely aiming to save a few pennies. The most frustrating aspect was her habit of dropping by unannounced. Without prior warning, I couldn't prepare her portion of the meal, leaving me scrambling to accommodate her unexpected presence. She'd nonchalantly devour my food and depart without a second thought. For Sarah, possession was synonymous with entitlement. Everything in her possession was hers by default, extending even to items within her parents' home. Just what I needed. I was running low on tissues. "I'll take these," she'd declare, helping herself to whatever caught her eye, regardless of its ownership. "But Sarah, I purchased those for Emma," I'd protest, only to be met with a withering glare. "What's the issue? You're always at home, aren't you? Just buy more," she'd dismiss, echoing her mother's callous disregard for boundaries. It's a marvel how Joe managed to emerge from such a family with his character intact. However, the greatest inconvenience arose when Sarah would pilfer ingredients meant for dinner without a word of permission. Each time, I'd be forced to abandon my chores and rush out for yet another shopping trip, disrupting the delicate balance of my already tumultuous existence. One day, I reached my breaking point. "Sarah, could you please give me a heads up before taking anything?" I mustered the courage to confront her. Little did I know, she promptly relayed the incident to Emma. "Have you forbidden Sarah from visiting us?" Emma interrogated, her accusatory tone slicing through the air. "What? No, I never said that," I clarified, taken aback by the accusation. "So, you're suggesting Sarah's fabricating stories?" Emma's words hung heavy in the tense atmosphere, leaving me trapped between Sarah's deceit and Emma's vindictiveness. Enduring Emma's cruelty alone was a torment, but when compounded with Sarah's falsehoods, the mental strain became unbearable. One day, as I walked past the room where they conversed, their voices carried enough for me to catch their words. "It's as if we have our very own maid. Isn't it wonderful? I'm envious." "Send her over to my place as well," Sarah remarked, her tone laced with mockery. "A maid? Am I not your daughter-in-law?" I interjected, unable to contain the hurt and indignation welling within me. Though I had silently accepted the role of a maid, hearing it vocalized pierced me to the core. In that moment, something deep within me snapped. That evening, I mustered the courage to bare my soul to Joe. "I've reached my limit. I've endured Emma's torment for as long as I can bear. Please, I need to find a way out of this situation." After a solemn pause, Joe's response was unexpected yet welcomed. "All right, we've managed to set aside enough funds. Let's make plans to move out soon." "Truly, I'll begin searching for a new place immediately," I exclaimed, tears of relief cascading down my cheeks. Unbeknownst to us, Emma was lingering just beyond the threshold of our room, overhearing our conversation. Little did we realize, this moment would set in motion a series of peculiar events, unraveling in ways we couldn't have foreseen. From that pivotal day forward, the once dreary days began to gleam with newfound hope. I harbored a singular aspiration to craft my own wedding gown, a masterpiece born from my expertise in sewing. Inspired by our conversation, brimming with determination, I wasted no time in placing a substantial order for fabric online. With unwavering resolve, I resolved to channel all my energy into bringing this dream to fruition. That was my newfound purpose, my unwavering commitment. I began crafting the dress in secrecy within the confines of my room, away from the prying eyes of Emma and Sarah. However, one day Sarah, known for her unannounced visits, stumbled upon my work in progress. "What's this? A dress? It's lovely to have something of your own," she remarked, inspecting the fabric with interest. "Sally, I'm tying the knot in 2 months. Could you fashion my dress as well?" she requested, her tone casual yet expectant. "Truly. Well, renting seems like a frivolous expense. I aim to keep our wedding costs low, you know. So please," she added, her trademark thriftiness evident in her plea. Although hesitant, I relented, agreeing to undertake the task on the condition that she cover the material expenses. After all, it was quintessential Sarah, always seeking ways to pinch pennies. I began by crafting Sarah's dress, prioritizing her requests over preparations for our own wedding, which was still some time away. Sarah, however, made a curious request. "Keep this between us. Don't mention it to Mom." It became apparent she intended to deceive Emma, pretending to rent the dress while seeking financial aid from her. Whatever she paid me for the materials, she was determined to recoup, showcasing a level of frugality that bordered on impressive. I confided in Joel about the situation, hoping for guidance. His response was unsurprising yet disheartening. Once Sarah sets her mind on something, she rarely wavers. "I know it's a lot to ask, but if you could make the dress for her, it would greatly assist us," he admitted, his tone tinged with resignation. Though burdened by the request, I accepted with a determined smile. "Consider it done. I'll put my best foot forward," I reassured him, steeling myself for the task ahead. The prospect of being compensated for my efforts provided a much-needed source of motivation. I viewed it as an opportunity to refine my skills, all while saving on materials for my own wedding dress. Additionally, there lingered a glimmer of hope that this endeavor might foster a better rapport with Sarah. With this in mind, I dedicated myself to the task of dressmaking, squeezing it in between my household duties and primary job. Even Emma seemed to take notice of my newfound focus, occasionally casting curious glances into my workspace. As Sarah's wedding day rapidly approached, the dress I had been tirelessly crafting neared its completion. Then, unexpectedly, Emma paid a visit to my room wearing a smile. "You've been working diligently again today. Aren't you feeling exhausted?" she inquired, her sudden shift in demeanor leaving me unsettled. "Indeed, a little tired," I admitted cautiously, unsure of her intentions. "I'll brew some coffee. Why don't you take a break?" she suggested, her offer catching me off guard. "Really? That would be appreciated. Thank you," I responded, cautiously accepting her offer. With a reassuring smile, Emma assured me, "No need to thank me. I'll bring it to you shortly." Grateful yet wary of this unexpected act of kindness, I watched as Emma left the room, her humming leaving me with an inexplicable sense of unease. Emma making coffee for me, it was a gesture unprecedented in our tumultuous relationship. Various thoughts raced through my mind, but ultimately, I decided to put aside my concerns and return to my work. As I delicately added the final embellishments of lace to Sarah's dress, a sense of accomplishment washed over me. Despite the garment being intended for Sarah, I couldn't help but infuse it with a touch of my own care and affection. Suddenly, the aroma of coffee filled the air, signaling Emma's unexpected arrival. "Sally, may I come in?" she called through the door. Caught off guard, I hesitated before granting her entry. As she stepped into the room, my eyes widened in disbelief. Emma bore a tray overflowing with cups and saucers, each brimming with coffee. "Emma, wait, this wasn't just for two," I protested, noticing the excessive quantity of beverages. With a clumsy movement, Emma attempted to maneuver further into the room, causing the tray to teeter precariously. In a moment of panic, I reached out to steady her, but it was too late. The tray slipped from her grasp, sending cups crashing to the ground and coffee splattering in every direction. In the ensuing chaos, I stood frozen, my gaze fixated on the ruined dress now adorned with splotches of coffee resembling a peculiar giraffe pattern. A scream escaped my lips involuntarily, echoing the shock and dismay I felt in that moment. As I glanced up, I couldn't help but notice the fleeting smirk on Emma's face. "Oh no, I'm terribly sorry. It was an accident," she offered, her voice tinged with feigned remorse. "Are you all right? Wait, is that a dress? I thought you were rummaging through the trash." Emma's words pierced through me, leaving me speechless and bewildered. The shock of her actions rendered me momentarily speechless, my mind racing to comprehend her motives. Attempting to mask her malicious intent, Emma feigned concern. "Oh dear, you can't possibly wear that for your wedding, can you?" she remarked, her false sympathy thinly veiling her true intentions. It was then that my suspicions solidified into certainties. Emma was deliberately trying to sabotage our wedding, perhaps in a bid to thwart our plans of moving out afterward. But there was no time for anger. With adrenaline coursing through my veins, I darted to the bathroom with the stained dress and towel, frantically attempting to rinse off the coffee before the stain set. Emma's presence loomed in the doorway, her malicious grin fueling my determination to salvage the garment. "Need any assistance?" she offered with a sickening sweetness. "No, I'm perfectly capable," I retorted tersely, my voice tinged with a cold fury born of anger and panic. Just then, Sarah materialized behind Emma, her voice cutting through the tension like a knife. "What's going on? Are you tormenting Sally again?" Sarah's words hung in the air, a stark contrast to Emma's deceitful facade. "No, it's just an unfortunate accident. I accidentally spilled coffee on her dress," Emma replied smoothly, her tone dripping with insincerity. Emma's words dripped with apparent enjoyment, sending a chill down my spine. This was already a dire situation, but what followed was unexpected. "What? Are you serious? That's my dress." Sarah's voice rang out, incredulous and bewildered. Emma stood dumbfounded, her expression a mix of shock and disbelief. "Yours, Sarah? What do you mean? I had her make my dress. What am I going to do?" "My wedding is in 2 weeks," she exclaimed, panic seeping into her voice in a way I had never witnessed before. As I continued to scrub the dress, their frantic exchange unfolding before me, a realization dawned upon me. I had never disclosed to anyone that I was making the dress for Sarah. Emma's assumption that it was intended for me suddenly made sense. She wouldn't have purposefully spilled coffee otherwise. If she had known it was for Sarah, there would be no motive for her to ruin it. Joe and I have long harbored plans to escape the oppressive confines of this family home once the wedding is behind us. In Emma's eyes, I've forever been the interloper, the thief cat who dared to snatch away her beloved son. The idea of her son being whisked away by someone she deems a mere maid is unbearable to her. In her mind, sabotaging our wedding seemed like a desperate attempt to anchor her son to home. Such petty and vindictive thoughts birthed her bizarre actions. Sarah's fury erupted like a storm, her accusatory words aimed squarely at Emma. "How could you? Everything is ruined. I can't believe my own mother would sabotage my wedding. I'm truly sorry, Sarah. Please find it in your heart to forgive me. I had no idea it was your dress. You don't think I would intentionally do such a thing, do you?" Emma's voice quivered with genuine remorse as she finally revealed her true feelings. As the heated exchange unfolded, I focused intently on washing the dress, feigning obliviousness to their confrontation. Suddenly, a man's voice cut through the tension, causing everyone to turn in unison. "Oh, Joe, when did you arrive?" Sarah exclaimed, startled by her brother's sudden appearance. "So, that's what happened, Mom," Joe stated calmly, his expression inscrutable. I hadn't even realized he had been silently observing the scene unfold, his arrival timed perfectly amidst the chaos of the argument between his mother and sister. Joe's voice pierced the air, tinged with palpable disappointment. "You watched Sally pour her heart into that dress every single night, only to deliberately ruin it. That's truly despicable." "It's not what you think. This is," Emma began, attempting to defend herself, but Joe's interruption cut her off. "Don't try to make excuses." Joe's voice rose with frustration, causing Emma and Sarah to recoil in surprise. Emma, in particular, seemed stunned by her son's rare display of anger, a stark departure from his usual demeanor. Maintaining his composure, Joe continued, his tone heavy with sadness. "I'm deeply disappointed, Mom. Sally endured your mistreatment all this time, hoping that one day you might change. She did it for my sake, because you're my mother." As Joe's words resonated through the room, a surge of emotion welled within me, threatening to spill over as tears. I had once misconstrued Joe's demeanor as indecisive and overly deferential to his mother, but now I witnessed a man steadfast in his determination to defend the woman he loved. Joe's unwavering stance, though perhaps unexpected, ignited a renewed admiration within me, reigniting the flames of my affection for him. Addressing Emma with unwavering resolve, Joe pressed on. "This is where we stand, Mom. I can't simply overlook what's happened. I'm sorry, but Sally and I will be leaving this place as soon as possible. I intend to stay until the wedding for your sake, but I cannot prolong our stay any longer." Though it was just a dress this time, who's to say what the future holds? Sally could be in danger next time, and by then, it might be too late. Emma, taken aback by Joe's assertion, interjected with a vehement denial. "Danger? Mom, I would never put her in danger." Joe's voice quivered with restrained anger as he confronted Emma. "How could you speak so callously after destroying all of Sally's hard work?" While his tone was measured, his frustration was unmistakable. This was his mother, after all, and Joe chose to express his discontent with quiet intensity rather than resorting to aggression. As Joe's words hung in the air, his expression shifted into something I had never witnessed before, an amalgamation of anger tinged with profound sorrow. It was a stark departure from the affectionate bond he shared with his mother. Emma, typically quick to retort with sharp words, stood speechless, tears streaming down her cheeks. It was a rare sight to witness Emma, usually so formidable, reduced to tears by her own son's disappointment. Sarah, too, stood in stunned silence, her gaze oscillating between Joe and Emma. The tension in the room was palpable, the weight of the moment hanging heavily upon us all. Later, Sarah made the difficult decision to cancel her wedding, realizing it was too close to the date to proceed amidst the turmoil within their family. Sarah was resigned to the fact that she wouldn't be receiving a refund. "I'm not to blame. Emma was the one who footed the bill," she reasoned, her tone resigned. In Sarah's eyes, at least she wasn't losing any money, but the situation weighed heavily on Emma. It seemed that Emma was finally beginning to grasp the gravity of her thoughtless actions, which had spiraled out of control. The shock of being reprimanded by her son had left her visibly weakened. However, the fallout extended beyond the confines of our household. Sarah's abrupt cancellation of the wedding incensed her boyfriend and his family. The strain on their relationship became untenable, ultimately leading to their breakup. Sarah placed the blame squarely on Emma for the dissolution of her relationship, and the accusations continued to echo long after. After we departed from the family home, Emma's calls occasionally came, often with a request for money. It became evident that one of her reservations about our leaving was financial. While we lived together, we contributed to household expenses, but Emma solely relied on her pension for income. It seemed her financial assistance had become a crutch for her. Each time Emma reached out, Joe stood firm in his refusal. "Mom, why not find work? There are opportunities out there. We all need to stand on our own feet. Please let us move forward independently," he urged, his words laced with a sense of responsibility. Despite Emma's pleas to avoid abandonment, Joe remained resolute. His unwavering stance seemed rooted in a deep-seated sense of duty. Eventually, Emma found employment as a janitor, a role that strangely suited her penchant for cleanliness, eliciting a hint of irony. Following her breakup and departure from her previous living arrangement, Sarah returned to reside with Emma. However, she ceased working altogether, relying solely on Emma's part-time income and pension. Upon seeing her again, I couldn't help but notice a striking change. Sarah was nearly unrecognizable, having gained a significant amount of weight. Joe and I have found solace in our new apartment, reveling in the tranquility of our newfound happiness. Gone are the days of snide remarks and sarcastic jabs. Our life together now is a blissful contrast to the dysfunction of our past in that family home. With a date set for our wedding, we've opted for an intimate ceremony, inviting only close friends and colleagues. Emma and Sarah, both grappling with their own struggles, won't be on the guest list. We've chosen to keep our celebration free from disturbances as they brought their isolation upon themselves. As preparations for the big day commence, I've begun crafting a new dress. a symbol of fresh beginnings and the beauty that awaits. This gown will be a testament to resilience far surpassing the one marred by a giraffe-like pattern.